Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to Talking Town on a Sunday. We are on the beach, ladies and gentlemen, hence all three of our intros playing more or less at the same time. Welcome to the summer. That is, of course, a big one leading up to Premier League football back at Portman Road. Have you got used to saying that yet? Used to thinking it? I know I certainly haven't. How are we feeling? What are we thinking? Leeds, Norwich currently playing. We'll try and keep you up to date when the full-time whistle goes there as well. We've got a live chat. So please do get active in the live chat with your thoughts, your comments, your opinions. We'll be looking back at our top 5 pivotal key moments, key games, big games, most enjoyable games of the campaign. We'd love you for you to join us, whether you're watching live or on catch up. Do, as we go through them, drop in what your top 5 would be. We'll go from 5th to 1st. So as we do it, join along with us and let us know what your pivotal moments, key moments. Do you agree also with what the lads will bring to the party? James would like to kick us off by saying, I'd like to thank everyone involved with the platform, be in front or viewers alike. I've been involved for around 4 seasons now. Might not know anyone personally, but I feel we're kind of family. Absolutely, James, the Talking Town community. If you're not yet a member, there's no obligation to be a member, but if you do become one, you get access to the Discord, and that is obviously basically Talking Town just every day of the week, 24/7, 365. Information in the chat, in the description. But thank you very much for your absolutely incredibly kind comments. And yes, we are all one big community here. Sharon Guest, who we met after the celebrations outside the curve. It was a pleasure to meet you, Sharon. Good afternoon to all my fellow Premier League club supporters. Love that. I'll never get bored of saying that. I really won't. Colin is in the chat. He's been texting me all morning. He's got his feet up, beer in hand, watching a playoff. I'm not quite sure what they are. But apparently 4 teams that weren't quite good enough are in it. Paul Smith, good afternoon, all Town fans. Has anyone noticed any footballer who breathes Ipswich are going to be signed? Is Kylian Mbappe leaving his current club? I think I heard he was. Wait for the rumour on that one on Facebook or Twitter. You know it's coming. Don't look at me like that. You know it's coming. As always, we are partnered with Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes. I'm on their app right now. So it's how you play is on the screen. You obviously download the app through your App Store, Google Play, wherever it is you get your apps. We've got some Premier League games on there today, £2 a card. We've got some cricket that's coming up on there. And there's also, I've just seen darts. And there's a couple of free cards that you can claim. So, you know, if you ever thought about giving it a go, download the app, have a look at the free games. After that, it's £2 a card, just as it is with the football and cricket. And the most crucial thing is, obviously, as you play, you support the crucial work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Every game helps to save lives and provide vital medical care to those in need. So well worth it. I'll just claim my free darts cards. I might put a couple of quid on the old Man United Arsenal game, 4:30 this afternoon. But of course, be gamble aware, over 18s only. We've got apparently Town to sign Mbappe. There you go. It's already happened. There we go. Love it. Get it out of the way nice and early. Let's get it out of the way before June. Like, subscribe. If you enjoy the content, watch it. And if you like it, subscribe, of course. But joining me this afternoon is Matthew Phillips and Mr. Richard Moss, who is also on thebeach.com.
Look at this man.
Chill it out, aren't we, boys?
Absolutely. Feet up, beers in hand. Playoffs going on for the 4 teams that weren't quite good enough, boys. And we'll come to that, you know, because I think it's important we, as a Premier League platform now. Sorry, I only said Championship platform. My mistake. Honest. The playoffs are happening. Good afternoon. To your, I imagine whoever's with you, Rich. Just say hello to me.
Susie.
Hello, Susie.
Hello,
Susie. There you go. Look at that.
She said, "Are we live?"
Yeah, we are. And I'm not paying her royalties either. All right. Right. So playoffs. West Brom, Southampton. We'll start there because that's not yet kicked off. Who are we fancying to progress out of the 2-legged affair?
Who cares?
We've got to care. We've got to care. We've got to care because there's some decent players there you could hoover up, or there's a team there you could take 6 points off next year. Either or, you know. View it through both those lenses.
This is the clubs that weren't as good as Ipswich Town competition, isn't it?
Correct.
I have to go for West Bromwich Albion, as Chris Hall will never talk to me again, which does have some positives to it. But I have to go with them. They should be. I mean, look, can West Brom, can Corberan bring back that kind of defensive game that we saw when we went to the Hawthorns when they shut us down completely? I think if they can do that, I would fancy West Brom over 2 legs. But Southampton got a bit of form back now, Richard, haven't they? Won at Leeds last week.
Well, it's funny that they're saying on here when I was watching the Norwich game and they were saying Don Goodman, our friend, the friend of Luke Wolfenden.
Oh yes, best friends I've heard.
They were basically saying it's strange that this season all the teams in the playoffs, Matt, are out of form. There's no one in form.
Yeah.
And he looked at who had won in previous years, and normally the team who wins the playoffs are the team who are in form. So it's pretty much up in the air, isn't it? Who's gonna come out on top?
I think it's up there. I feel sorry for Don. Forever persecuted for live comments. I could sympathise.
Well, as a live broadcaster, yeah, you do sympathise on that one, but no, not really. I'm going to go West Brom, Rich, just because Chris Hall, friend of the show, and we can get some good content next year with Chris if he's a Premier League.
Is this who you want to get through?
Yes.
Oh, we
and
want
also,
West Brom to get through. We want
Russell Martin.
Yeah, we want West Brom to get through because we're not a fan of Russell Martin. But I think Southampton over the two legs will have too much for him.
Chris wants to be on the show regardless of whether they're in the Championship or not. Because he said you wanted him on when we were League One and they were Championship. So why would it not work the other way?
Well,
you'll have to go back to him. I didn't want to speak for you.
That's all right. I'll go back to him. We're Premier League, and when you come up to our level, you can come on the platform again.
Yeah, he had to come down a level, League One. Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. All right. Leeds Norwich, a game that looks like ending 0-0 if it played for 4 days, let alone 90 minutes. Cagey as Don is a cagey game.
Yeah.
Overall, the two legs. Do you feel Leeds might have a little bit too much for our friends?
Let's hope so, because we don't want Shane Duffy celebrating again too much, do we? After his misdemeanors this week.
No one give him a drink. No, exactly.
Don't know.
Leeds under lights. Leeds under lights. Well, surely if this ends a draw, Leeds under lights at Ellen Road.
Ellen Road's tough place, isn't it, Matt, to go to?
As we've
two names for you, right? We're obviously going to get into our transfers, next week and beyond in terms of who's out, who's in, who we fancy, etc. Two names for you, right? It might be they're immediately disqualified because who they play with or play for.
You're going for Gabriel Sarr, aren't you?
No.
Oh,
no.
Sargent's going to be one, sure.
Josh Sargent.
I'd have him. Yeah, take him.
I think he's a very good player. He's moved particularly.
He's not scored any goals in the top flight, be it Werder Bremen in Germany or with them. Was he got 2 goals for them in the Premier League?
That's a no from you and a yes from you, right?
We said the same about George Hurst.
And he's 10. But George was $1.5 million, Rich. The Sargent's about 10 million minimum, I would say.
Good player. And Johnny Rowe.
Nah, not bad.
Sure,
no, thanks.
I think he's a good player,
he done nothing. He done nothing at Portman Road in that game. He scored 2 lucky goals. That was it. One was offside.
I was going to say, he didn't do nothing. He scored 2 goals. If that's doing nothing on a bad day.
They were
offside. One. The other one was through a lackey's legs. No, I wouldn't take him. Not good enough. Where would you play him?
On the pitch, Rich.
What position?
He plays that right side, doesn't he?
He ain't playing right side instead of Burns.
Oh, what a 1-2. Right, well,
Squad game, innit? Squad game.
Somerville, not a chance. You'd be able to afford him. No chance. 20 million upwards.
I'm not the checkbook holder. I'm just literally the dream maker. All right.
We still got to be a little bit realistic when we're on about our targets.
Have we?
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise,
that's like we say we might as well go for Mbappe.
Let me just cross off Mbappe for next week's show then. Right. I'll stop that.
The rumour is that Real Madrid will not announce him until June the 2nd, presumably after the day after they won the Champions League.
Did you see, Matt, when they lost in the week and they come through that mix zone? You know, when they come through the mix zone after the game and they can talk to the reporters or not, and the reporter asked him, "Are you going to watch the Madrid Munich game tomorrow?" Walked straight off, didn't they? Didn't want to know.
So we all want Leeds out of that one, obviously, and then West Brom overall winners. So back to town, we've still got a little bit of tidbit news coming out. Sean Aluko, obviously, last week at the dinner, announced his retirement. Any comments? Any thoughts on his time here? McKenna himself, Rich, said he would have loved to have coached Aluko just a few years earlier.
Yeah, look, it's his age, and it caught up with him. We see in the games he played this season, didn't we, Matt? That he hadn't played any games, and he hadn't got it in the legs. You know, it didn't.
Sean fan?
Big fans of Aluko. Look, it showed that he was at the back end of his career, and look, in his time at Town Martin, I know we've had a bit of chat on this platform. Did he really do a lot? Not for me. He might have done a lot off the pitch in the dressing room and might have been an experienced Ed, but players on the pitch, Matt, is what I'm looking at. And what did he? He got a couple of goals against Cambridge. I think he scored at Portsmouth in the 4-0 win that night. Yes. But it was good memory. It was probably good. It was probably a good signing for experience-wise, but contributions on the pitch, I thought it was pretty minimal, Martin. I'm not being disrespectful. He's been an excellent professional wherever he's been, you know, and we got him at the back end. And this is football. But will he join the coaching staff? Possibly.
Seems
might
that
have a
way,
role
doesn't
for
it?
him. Yeah.
I think we're all looking at Aluko through a different lens here. I agree with Rich. I think I said in the Discord, I felt like his career with us was fairly average, I would say. But certainly the things that we didn't see. So we only saw him on a Saturday or a midweek game or whatever. Certainly that experience that he brought and the know-how he brought behind the scenes and in the dressing room obviously was of value to McKenna because he waxed lyrical about that at the dinner last week. So yeah, fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, anyone who pulls on the blue shirt will support him, and you know he chipped him with some important goals. Clearly, what he was doing behind the scenes was a huge thing, and you know we have to give him props for that. I think.
Okay, and obviously last weekend, bus scenes, Ed Sheeran in town, partying with the town squad.
I'll tell you, I've loved in all these celebrations. Dominic Ball.
Oh, he's embracing it.
He's embracing it. That one when they're singing in the toilet, he is literally so. You know when you're so pissed, Matt, and you're trying to sing, and he's like nothing's coming out of his mouth. I mean, look, these players.
The Venetian in Vegas, they're there now, aren't they?
Yeah, but these players, look, there's memories here that they've created for a lifetime, not just for the fans, but for themselves. I mean, you see all of them, Matt and Martin, on their Instagram, basically pictures with Ed thanking him.
Yeah.
Can they actually believe that they're with a global superstar here in a place called, what's it called? Chinny's in Halesworth?
Chinny's in town, yeah. Halesworth.
They've gone to somewhere, obviously, where they didn't want no one they've gone right out of the way, haven't they, Matt? Because they're not going to want to go anywhere in town because like someone gets someone gets a little bit of a whiff that they're going to be there and there's going to be loads of people there. So look, brilliant scenes. And look, Connor Chaplin, what a voice. I love it when he says, give me the fucking mic. You sing it. It's just like, what is going on? It's just crazy.
Brilliant. It's brilliant to see in it. And who would have, you know, when we started this podcast, who would have thought 4 years later you'd be seeing those scenes, the players celebrating in a hired venue out in the middle of nowhere with Ed Sheeran going into the Premier League. Just unbelievable. It's great to watch. It's great content.
It really is. And we seem to the players themselves seem to have adopted an Ed Sheeran song as one of their go-to group songs, don't they? Where every time you see them,
that's the one he sung, wasn't it, when he was in the dressing room? I think it was after that whole game, wasn't it?
No one knows the words after the first verse. They all start struggling.
Ed was great. Don Ball was great. Lead vocals, Don Ball in the dressing room.
Yeah,
when it's some great content. I mean, Town in 50 or Town in the Premier League, you've got to give. I think it was last Sunday on here, Matt. You know, everyone's getting sort of like Ashton and the team and everyone. The media team has done absolutely
really good,
unbelievable work. And I know everyone was wanting it like the day after. Where is it? Where is it? But look at the footage that they had to obviously go through, and
the edit.
It's just brilliant. And now that's there now forever, and we can watch it whenever you want. You know, and it's just these past 2 seasons they just blow you away because maybe look, when we're in the Premier League and we're struggling and we haven't won for 3 months and everyone's that might come, but we have to look back and look on these memories that have been made.
Agreed.
For a lifetime, and just think when we're struggling, just take a step back and just remember what we've done, where we've come from, and look, it's not going to be a bed of roses. It's not going to be a bed of roses all the way next season. I think we're all wise enough to know that, and it's going to be hard work, but. Yeah. Look, these players have they've given us something that, like you say, Matt, when we started this show and when we sat through Rochdale 0-0, Northampton 3-0, AFC 1, and balls flying out of stands, no crowds.
Guyon Edwards free kick.
You know,
still orbiting the air.
We all sat here, didn't we, and watching behind our screens during COVID and thinking, this is absolutely hard work. And now you've got 55,000, I think they said, didn't they, Martin, in Ipswich, estimated. It's gone through the roof.
I think you've got to make a good point there because I think the first game back after COVID, they did was it like a draw? You had to enter and then they drew out a certain number because obviously they couldn't have a
Portsmouth.
And I think the conversation, at the time was,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I actually want to go back yet.
There you go.
So now you're struggling to keep anyone from entering it like 400 times. But then it was like, I'm not sure I want to go back. Like it was that bad. So I didn't make a great point.
Just enjoy it. Like we said, you think back to all those dark times. Just enjoy these moments. They're brilliant. They've been few and far between for Ipswich. Hopefully, we've turned the corner and you start seeing more of this kind of stuff. But brilliant. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
enjoy it.
Yeah, big crowds as well. Even people I didn't even know were Town fans. there celebrating last week on my timeline on social media. I was like, I'm sure that's what we'd asked all last week.
We're
Awesome.
on second favourite team again, aren't we?
Yeah.
We had this
Yeah,
when we
you got
went up
yeah.
on the Burley Rich, didn't we? And finished 5th. Oh, I've always liked Ipswich. Always looked out for your results. And now,
was that the first season when the Tractor Boys phrase come out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
I like that, by the way.
Yeah.
I know many don't, but I do.
It was off the back of World Cup 98, wasn't it? Where Jamaica were called the Reggae Boys. Do you remember? So that's where that kind of thing started rolling a little bit. And then, the Tractor Boys coming. I think Birmingham coined it as a bit of a slate into us. It just got picked up. I've always thought it was quite good. It gives you just a little bit of an identity, doesn't it? The Tractor Boys.
Lastly,
to non-Ipswich fans, basically, yeah.
Before we move on to our moments, and hopefully the guys and girls at home will let us know what their favourite top 5 pivotal, key, exciting, best moments of the season. Well, there's plenty to choose from this year. Normally, it's struggling to get 5, but or the last couple of years it hasn't been. Sarmiento. I see the Brighton manager has obviously been speaking about Sarmiento. Is he a player you would take back? Obviously, you've got 2 loans next season.
That's the thing that.
It's cheaper window, right?
Yes,
yeah. So would you sign him? Would you loan him? Would you
I think for a team like us, Matt, I think that hampers us a little bit because obviously I think we had like who did we had? Kiefer Moore, Sarmiento, Amari, Travis. So we had 4 in the squad. In
Brandon.
Yeah, but
who?
Brandon Williams. We could talk about him in on the next shows if we're going to sign him because a lot of people would still bring him back.
Good point.
So would I sign Sarmiento? It's a tough one now because them 2 lone players are probably going to be for me. Are they going to have to be starters or pushing to get in to your first team? I would have thought. So you're going to have to be really, you're going to have to be really savvy how you use them 2 loans. I think now, and he was excellent, wasn't he? Sarmiento. I don't think anybody can say that he wasn't. But most of his best work, it was coming off that bench, wasn't it, in that last 20, 25 minutes. Look. Would there be a possibility? I was talking to Joe Fairs, Matt, and I think it was Cameron Archer when Sheffield United had signed him from Villa.
Yeah.
But the proviso was if Sheffield United got relegated, Villa would have to re-sign him back. So to get round that sort of, you could they do that with Brighton possibly? Say, look, we'll sign him, and then if we did go down, you have to take him back. I don't know. Look, I'd love to see him back at the club. You could see how much he enjoyed it, and look, you've only got to see the scenes. Gov on the pitch when he was after the game, and it was funny when they were all on the benches on that town in the Premier League, and Wolfie's on the benches there, and they say, Wolfie, give us a song. And he's like, shh. And then he starts singing the Sarmiento song. So look, it's hard now, isn't it? Because when we do these transfer shows, and you have to probably lose people that we all love, and they've all created a little bit, and even Lewis Travis, Matt, didn't play much of a part. He's having a whale of a time in Vegas.
Absolutely.
Right.
Big part of the squad, wasn't he?
If I could sign him permanently, I would. As a loan, I don't think I would, Gov, because you've only got them 2.
Okay, Matt, would you go along with that?
Yeah, I probably would agree with that. To be honest with you, I didn't realise this 2 loan rule until people started chatting about it after the promotion was sealed. Yeah, that does hamstring us a little bit because then you are kind of committed to financial outlay in terms of paying transfer fees and everything. But look, Sarmiento is certainly a different player to what Chris Hall said we was going to be getting. I felt like he was, he was a bit of a luxury player at West Bromwich Albion. Again, he was used sparingly from the bench, hence he gets recalled and then taken to Portman Road. But then again, you've got to factor in McKenna, the McKenna factor, and he became a different player. And like you were saying, he was up and down the pitch, fantastic impact from the bench. So. Yeah, I would love him back next season. And look, the rumor was that if we got promoted, he'd get another year, but on loan presumably. But I don't know whether or not with just 2 slots there, he would fill one of those. I don't know. I'm pretty certain McKenna and Ashton will know who they want to fill those roles already with the planning and everything. Would one of them be earmarked for Amari? Maybe.
I think so.
That would be the priority, wouldn't it? Out of the 2, if you give them both, Amari would be the.
I think you're just going to have to be patient for him, Matt, because I see they said he's probably going to go on the Chelsea pre-season tour in July.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to see how he shapes up then. Look, there's probably going to be European teams now looking at him. If like a Dortmund come in with that offer, Champions League football, they might think that's the best move for him
Yeah.
in his career. Look, we were in a
Why not?
position now. Look, we'd all love Amari to come back because he's been absolutely brilliant. He's probably been probably our best loan signing for
Ever.
Yeah, because everyone
Probably
goes on
ever.
about
Yeah.
Giovanni Dos Santos. He was only here
Yeah.
for 5 games. Amari's
Yeah.
had that impact through the season. So, but we're in
10
the
goals.
position. We're in the position now that if we don't get Amari, and we don't all love him to come back, but if we don't, we're in a good position now to get as good.
Yes, agreed. That's a good
I
point,
think we will.
actually, for Amari. Is that where Chelsea want him to go next? To get European experience? That's the only thing we can't offer. We can offer top flight, but we can't offer that Champions League thing yet.
but that's based on the fact they view another loan as the preferred option. They may view a Sal altogether.
Yeah, because he's only got a year left, so they could obviously with trying to cash in because he's obviously English. What are we saying? 15 million.
Probably.
But if it is 15 million, that's a deal you take straight away. That if they
Definitely.
say if you're Mark Ashton and they say it's 15 million, I don't even need to bat an eyelid, do you? That because a player of his
That's a
age,
good spend. That's a good outlay.
yeah, like you would expect him to be worth more than that within.
Yeah,
12 months' time.
look at the progression he can make.
Yeah. If he says 15 million, you say how fast can you get them back down to Portman Road? You don't even sort of try and sort of negotiate it.
They didn't sell that Hudson-Odoi to Nottingham Forest for very much, did they? I think one of the lads in the Discord was talking about this. He went for like 4 or 5 million or something. Hudson-Odoi.
He'd been on loan in. Had he been on loan in Germany, Matt?
Yeah, I think he'd done the
Yeah,
Germany
because
thing.
he came in, didn't he? And then he was like the next big thing. And then
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he went cheap as chips.
Very quickly though, just to sort of as we're covering it through the summer, and obviously that these will be the sort of the tidbits throughout. Justice asked a great question in the chat. What kind of player do you feel Ipswich need to stay up in the Premier League? It's a great question. We'll build on that more next week.
I think you need
Great
some
question.
Premier League quality, don't you? Sprinkled in what we've got.
Well, actually, to go back to what Don Goodman said when he was commenting about the Wolfenden comments, he said the thing they actually need to do is strengthen their defence. He said because you look at all the clubs that go up and come back down again from the Premier League, I've conceded goals for fun. So I think that everyone talks about who's going to score the goals. Keeping them out the other end is probably the most important thing. And I would agree with Goodman in that our defence has been, well, we've said it all season, it's been holy. So I think, and not in a religious sense, a Swiss cheese sense. So I think looking at that is going to be pivotal. I think as much as we like our defence currently.
Because I did say yesterday, Matt, I can't remember what the figures were, but the overall goal difference for the 3 teams that are getting relegated, Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United, it's about minus 100 in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to probably concede more goals than we score. That's probably, we know that. I think we'll be able to
we're
score
not used
goals.
to that either.
No, I think we'll be able to score goals. I've got no doubt we'll create chances. It is at the other end, and I think we said that.
Yeah.
It was in our DNA this season. This wasn't something you're going to remedy this season because it was just in us. Whereas in the summer, that's where I'll be looking firstly to shore up the defence, and another goalkeeper.
Sheffield United have let in 101 goals.
Yeah, I was just looking at
90. They finished on 90 points last season. Burnley at 76, Luton on 81. Something bloody hell, look, just 200 plus goals conceded by the three.
Sheffield United scored 35 goals. That's
there you go. Norwich 0, Leeds 0.
One a game, like less than one a game. That's mad. Luton scored 50 goals, but yeah, okay, we'll get to that more next week. But Premier League experience, says Mr. Moss.
Yeah, I think we need a bit of both. I agree with Matt there. Defensively, you've got to be a lot tighter, and you've got to have some
Premier League experience.
Premier League know-how.
You have to be, yeah.
Okay, all right. Moving on to our top 5 moments of the year, and as I say, I'd love you to join us at home, whether you're on catch up or live. Let us know as we go through your 5 to 1 moments. Join in at the same time as we drop them, and let us know if you agree, disagree, or if you've got something different for us. So at 5, we'll start with you, Matt, and then Rich will go to you, do it like a round robin.
Yeah.
So Matt, your 5th most key, pivotal, exciting, best moment of what a season that has provided so many moments.
I've not really done it in it as well. Some are exciting, best. Some, what kind of impact did they have on the season? I would start with the Walton injury, where we all start having kittens, don't we? Oh my God, he's got injured after this Luton game at Colchester. He's done his foot in. How long is he going to be out for? Means Haladki's going to have to come in. We was in the wilderness a little bit. We had so many questions.
We're coming to that.
Oh yes, we are.
On my list.
But look, listen. Yeah, but it was because what looked like to be a huge negative for us, given the impact that Christian Morton had in League One, ever present, fantastic season. The saves, got penalty saves in key games. He's not going to play in the He's not going to start the Championship season. And of course, this was then the making of Haladki, wasn't it? And then that sliding doors moment of what we thought was a negative then becomes a positive. And then you think to yourself, where would we have been without Haladki in terms of the passing out from the back? The Cruyff turn, Richard, you rightly remembered the other week against Hull. My favourite moment is the cushioned pass.
I mean, that was massive.
Against Borough.
That Cruyff turn when he took 2 Hull players out and we scored about 18 passes later. Everyone forgot about where it all started. It was with the goalkeeper on the bloody goal line. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you're quite right. I mean, it was just brilliant. And I remember thinking, when I said I cheered when he did that cushioned touch and pass at Borough. And I remember thinking to myself, bloody hell, he's legit with his feet. I mean, look, this was November, December. And I just, something that just was a massive negative to the entire fan base. Shit, Morton, he's going to miss the start of the campaign. He's going to miss going to the Stadium of Light. Haladki steps in and he took to it like a duck to water. So a good example of a negative that turned into a huge positive.
And that game you mentioned, Luton, think back to that game in Amari. He looked a player who's got some ability, but be very raw. And then look at the player that ended the season. So back to the Amari conversation, that's why his valuation is very key, because his growth just from that point to A to B was.
I mean, in some of them early games, he come off the bench, didn't he? And it's like he was one of them typical academy players, Matt, coming from your Premier League. A gust of wind, he was down on the deck looking for a free kick, and you're thinking he learned very, very quickly. I thought, and it weren't just his attacking play, Matt and Martin, which he was great at anyway. It's his defensive work as well, because there was I can't remember what game it was near the end of the season when he lost the ball and he must have run about 50 or 60 yards to come back and get the ball, and that's what is this team.
Southampton, was it?
Possibly. It was down on our side. It was down our side in the first half. And he ran back and he got the ball, and you think everybody in this team just buys into it, don't they?
Yeah.
Mike D says, Haladki's been brilliant, most improved player for me. What a hero. But then, good comment. Not many people will disagree with it, but then you want a new goalkeeper, Rich.
Well, it's really interesting that we're sitting here on, Sunday the 12th of May, and there's still no contract signed.
Well,
now, I think that's really, really telling. He's quite an interesting character, Matt, because if you look at all them celebrations, he's right on the periphery. He's not. Look, you've got your Harry Clarks and your Jack Taylors and all that young lads.
Yeah,
he's probably he's a little bit older, and I think what is he now? 33, 34, Martin.
Yes, yeah.
He's been around. He's just sitting back.
He's like a lone wolf,
and he's soaking it all in. He's soaking it all in. But does he know that possibly he ain't going to be here next season?
Yeah, maybe.
Or is he just a really cool dude that look like
possibly
just in his suit with his glasses, just sort of?
But I find it really interesting that you've got this far, and I'm not sure when the retained list was out last season. It was sometime probably.
It's coming up. Yeah.
So look, they're probably letting them have their obviously their time away, and then it'll probably be in the next couple of weeks. But I just think it's really interesting that nothing's come out offering him that new contract. And I think in the Premier League, right, if he signed a contract, I've got no problem, because I think he'd be a really, really good number 2. But in the Premier League, Matt, your goalkeeper is going to have to have. He's going to face a lot more shots.
Yep.
And I think this is the worry that comes in with me with Haladki. He's really good with his feet, but there's few of them goals. And it was as the season crept on. I'm not so much at the start. You look at the Coventry goal, the goal for Norwich. There was the Ndidi one, Mavadidi one in the game against Leicester at home when he took that step. He's going to face a lot more shots. So I want a goalkeeper who's a good shot stopper. And if it was up to me, I'd be signing the goalkeeper who's played in the Premier League, because I think you need that experience from like the spine of your team.
Yeah, and they're going to be busy next year.
He's played in the Scottish Premier League. Does that count?
No, it doesn't. But they're going to be busy next year. Whoever's in goal for Ipswich Town, and then
there's a goalkeeper in the Scottish Premier League now who I'm going to float next week.
But they're going to have to be really fit and nimble and agile, and they might need to go and see Freddie at Stowmarket Osteopath to keep them all supple. Freddie at Stowmarket Osteopath, physiotherapy, osteo, services as well. 01449613633. I was there myself this week. Had a great
You got
time.
in, did you? You got in,
I
did
did.
you?
I actually remember what time I was supposed to be there this week. And I got there. It was.
How can you forget what time you're supposed to be there?
I thought it was 12:30. It was actually 12 the week before, so they rebooked me. I was devastated. It was like a kid that had been told Christmas is cancelled. I was like, no, I need this appointment. And if you've got bad back, bad bees, whatever it might be, give Freddie a call and see if he can help you as well. 01449613633. Rich, your fifth moment before we go on to the top fours.
Right, so I had top 5 games, but top 5 pivotal moments. And I've just moved one from my top 5 games into my pivotal moments. At number 5, Ipswich 2, Sunderland 1 at Portman Road.
Ooh, okay.
In front of Sky cameras, and it was our first win in 5. And I think that game we got no Sam Morsey because he was suspended. There was no Luongo because I think he was injured. I think we had Lewis Travis and Jack Taylor played in the centre of pitch that day. And we had Caden Jackson up front, Matt.
Yes,
Scored.
we did.
And we went 1-0 down in that game. Jack Clark scored. He's another one who might feature in my wanted list, possibly.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, look, we ain't won in 5, and this was the time when we had them draws, and Keith and George Hurst had been injured, and we didn't have any fit strikers. And you look at this run, and I think we had one win in about 8 or 9 games, but we didn't lose many games, which is still important for me because we didn't lose games, did we, Martin, under McKenna? We only lost 6 all season. So that game for me, it was one of them games where it was just you just need to win that game. Obviously, Caden got the equaliser, didn't he? And then little Connor Chaplin, Chaplin, do not leave him unmarked in the 6-yard box. The smallest man on the pitch. Great delivery from Leif Davis again, and there he was, 2-1, and it was a really important win. There was the miss. I can't remember the substitute Matt missed when Halaki passed it straight to him. And he put it wide. Put it wide at 1-1. So that's another big moment in the season. So look, I think that was a really important win to get that victory. Your first in 5, and
Very good. Yeah.
obviously we were being wrote off then by certain pundits because we were struggling.
Yeah, well, we were at the time. But Sunderland's also featured as my sort of fifth moment. It's the home. It's the away first game of the season for me. That's because I don't think we were at our best for the first 45. I thought we were a bit ropey in that first.
The first 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes, it showed that blimey, we've made the leap up here to the championship, and I don't think we hardly got a touch of the ball.
No,
and obviously was it Joby Bellingham?
That's it.
Had an open goal. And you just feel, obviously, first game back, momentum being carried from League One to get that 3 points, a win at a playoff side the year before, having not played, a complete 90 minutes. Great opening day win, obviously 3 points on the board, but it carries that momentum over, and then you start to build into a new wave of momentum. Whereas had Joby scored, had Broadhead's deflection gone wide, I'm not saying the story would have been different. Of course, I'm not. But it's a big moment.
Of injury time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my sort of fifth big moment. Just
and that was a massive moment in that game with Alaki when he done that save right at the end with his leg.
Yeah.
Just deflected it onto the post, didn't he?
Lucky Ipswich.
Yeah, lucky old Ipswich, mate. Hey.
Lucky old Ipswich. Lucky Ipswich.
Right from the off, we were lucky.
Number 4 then, Rich.
Right, number 4, Morsey walks the tightrope again. Now, I've got the number of yellow cards, Matt, he's got this is previous seasons. In the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. What do you think his lowest number of yellow cards was?
10?
Yeah, 9. So he's got 12, 15, 12, 9, 12, 12, and he ended on 14 this season, didn't he?
Wow. Yes.
And I can't remember where he got his 13th booking, but there was quite a few games between then. No, it was before that. There was quite a few games, wasn't there, when we were looking, thinking he's going to get a free game ban here.
Yeah.
But he done the same last season when he was on the tightrope there, and he's got that experience where there were certain games there when it seemed as though Luongo was the one who'd do the kicking. He'd take the yellow card for Sam that game. Look, and I think he's a massive player, and if we'd have missed him, Matt, in any of them, the run in there, I mean, how do you actually replace him? Yeah, I know you had Lewis Travis and you had Taylor, but I don't think you got anyone in the squad that to come in for him. Maybe for the odd game, Martin, but for 3 games, I think
Such
it's a lot.
fun games that you're right. The leadership, how he reads the game, gets stuck in, brings everything. You're right. He's irreplaceable.
He's got
Can he
booking
do
every
that next year?
booking every 268 minutes. So like every 3 games, he's getting a yellow card. So
what was that, Martin?
Do you think he could walk the tightrope next year? Because it'll be a better league, better players, faster football. You know, is he a player? Because you'll be a player that racks up the yellow cards. Fact.
Well,
right?
So is that one of the signings? And then we'll have to make someone who can actually, you know, actually fit into that Morsey shape in midfield. I think it'll have to be. Well, and certainly you've got to look to the future anyway. Because he ain't got many seasons left.
32, isn't he?
Yeah.
Still young, boys.
But you think as well, Matt. You've got to bring in, you've got to bring in VAR as well. So he's not actually not got a red card for us, and that's another thing.
That's going to change.
That's another great thing. So last season we had
101.
We had 101 yellow cards last season, and no reds. And we've only had 1 red card in the last 2 years, and that was Harry Clark when he had his brain fade at Fleetwood last season. So we've been really, really well disciplined. You know, not just a good team, but we're really well disciplined. Now in the Premier League, you bring in VAR, and it's going to be. I know. Look, Neil says we have got 8 less games, but you're bringing in that VAR, and none of us have played under it. Nope. We've not seen it. We've seen it on telly, haven't we? And we're going to go to games now, and you're going to have to just get used to it. There's going to be certain moments in the games where someone thinks it's a good tackle. You've only got to look in the. I don't know if you saw the Old Firm derby yesterday, Matt, and that John Lundstrom. Did you see the John Lundstrom, the tackle? Now, in real time, it looks like a good tackle, right? But the speed he's coming in there, and it's probably nowadays. I see Sutton and that Kenny Miller. Kenny Miller said never red card ever, but it is nowadays. It's like he's coming in at speed, and this is what we've got to get used to. And Morsey might pick up a red card or 2 because there's probably been certain games where he's probably been a bit lucky, but now you've got to factor that in as well. But look, he walked the tightrope. He got through, and what an incredible leader he is.
He is, and we all know that, and he'll be a leader for us for more years to come. Matt, you're number 4, please.
I've gone for the first league game back at Pullman Road. Obviously, we had Bristol Rovers immediately after Sunderland, didn't we? But the first league game back was against Stoke, which is one I couldn't go to because I had to go to family birthday. And so very rarely, have I missed, be it in the stadium or watching on TV, have I missed the game. So I had to watch it on like SofaScore, getting the updates on tenterhooks, watching it on my phone, thinking, could we build on that? What felt like in the end, we got away with one a little bit at Sunderland, like we said, you said earlier, the Bellingham miss, the 30 minutes of injury time, the Halaki save onto the post, etc. And I think, that sets a marker in the sand, doesn't it? Your first home game back at a different level of football, high level of football. That sets the marker for the rest of the season. I remember, obviously we win the game, don't we? 2 random scorers get the goals, Wolfenden and Jackson. I remember thinking in the party game, bloody hell, those 2? And then the next morning I watched the game back on the town TV. I remember thinking, I just remember thinking that something could happen here. Now, I didn't think we were going to finish second on 96 points, but I remember thinking the stadium had a different feel about it. The pace of that first half was just electric. I remember thinking, I really wish I'd been at this game. It was just an unbelievable performance. And I do feel like in the end, that did set the marker for everything else because we go through the season having lost just 1 game. Had we lost 3 games at home, Leeds would have pipped us to second place promotion. So it shows you how fine the lines were and why that marker on that first game back at Pullman Road was so pivotal. And again, probably good opposition, wasn't it? We say we couldn't have scripted it better, could we? The Hollywood ending. Play Huddersfield. They're relegated already. Brilliant. Perhaps Stoke was a good one for us. A team treading water in the Championship, neither here or there. And, we could go there and build on that Sunderland victory and in front of our own fans. So,
I think I had them in my top 6, Matt, when we done the preview show. Stoke.
Many did. Many thought they'd be
they were going to do right.
A team to watch.
And then kind of a line, very quickly, just a line into that is I don't know if you boys have got this on there, so I don't want to steal thunder, but the Burns goal against Coventry was another moment where suddenly people realised who we were. Because that goal was goal of the season for me. Just the build-up of it, the Chaplin cross ball.
The amount of views that had on the socials.
Yeah.
I think over 1 million, probably more.
Yeah. So, suddenly everyone was talking about Ipswich. I was in the office, people going, bloody hell, where's Burns' goal? Phenomenal. So for my own, from my own interest, the Stoke one set the marker for the home form, which was so pivotal in the end. and then suddenly arriving on that mainstream stage was the build up and the Burns goal. Brilliant. So those kind of two together for me.
And I think the Stoke one particularly, first home game. I remember that game so well. It was an electric atmosphere, and Stoke were aside. Rich Edelman's top six, and many thought they'd be a decent team.
Who's the guy they had that came on was at Villa, the striker?
Oh, yeah,
and they spent about. I mean, when he come on, I remember him coming on, Matt, and thinking, "Who's this guy? He's about 6'5" tall.
Yeah,
he's about 6'5" wide," and you're thinking, "Bloody hell!"
Let me look that up. Who was that?
Yeah, 30 million. He
had an injury, didn't he? Yeah. Was it a cruciate he had? That's why when he signed for Villa. The name escapes me, but I'm pretty sure he had an injury. It's why he ended up at Stoke.
He came on in the first half in that game.
Wesley. Right.
Wesley.
Yeah.
Is he Dutch?
Brazilian.
He's Brazilian.
Brazilian according to this.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
22 million pounds he was. So even like it's Stoke, even then, like you think about the signings we've made, even Stoke like got 22 million pound striker up top.
Yeah. That's such a good game, that, and it's a shame you missed it. I really enjoyed that. I'd forgotten Wolverhampton had scored though. I have to go and watch the highlights. I've forgotten he scored that.
I remember when Caden come on that game, and you're thinking a lot of people like he had. I think Ladapo started that game. I think he was up front, and then he came on, and you're thinking, it might have been Hurst. No, I think Hurst was playing. I think he brought him on instead of Ladapo. That was it. Yeah, he brought him on instead of Ladapo, and a lot of people at the time thought. It's a bit of a strange stuff, but they needed him to stretch him with the pace, and there he was. I think he was at the back post and side foot that one in, and you're thinking, crucial goal. Caden again. I don't know if any of you have seen it, the fantastic interview with Brennan Woolley after the game on the pitch with Caden. I mean...
I've not heard that one.
It's just... If I'll find it and I'll send it to you, because it's like... He says, if the manager asked me to run through a brick wall, I would. And you think...
And he would.
The story that he's had, and look, we don't know if he's going or staying. I see the Instagram post, Martin. You just thought it was thank you to his family, which it might have been. Caden, look, he's had the time of his life this season, and he'll always have that on his CV now, wherever he goes. One promotion. Got relegated with Town, Matt. How fitting that he was still here, still in that squad, and he played his part.
I tell you, played right back that day against Stoke. Genoy.
There you go. As Sharon says, Jackson's such a grateful and lovely character. And he is. Real testament to character over ability, really. Because how many players have you seen with God-given ability, but with poor character, etc., that just fall by the wayside? And this is another thing that when we've signed these players in the summer, Martin, you might have someone who's got all the ability in the world. If they ain't got the right character, they ain't fitting in down here.
Jet being one, J. Manuel Thomas being one. He had everything. That guy had everything. 2-footed, pace, could head the ball, shoot from distance, take set pieces. Just didn't have the attitude to get to hit that extra 1-3% you needed to go and play for Arsenal consistently and probably go and play for England. And you see him just drop out. It's a shame. Yeah, and as Sharon said, lovely character, because at times he could have sulked and you would have forgiven him and said he's got every right to sulk. He's been put in this squad to play, I think it was Chelmsford or Bury or whoever. He's been told he's not good enough, not wanted. New manager comes in, still not really a key player in terms of appearances of starts. And he's got his own career. He wants to obviously look after it as well, but he doesn't. He gets on, pulls his socks up, gets on with it, smiles around the camp. And it's just, a really good story, really, of what character and hard work can do. And who knows, this time next year, we may be talking about Caden Jackson's goal against Man United in the first home game back in the new level. Having illness levels.
You just never know. You never know. Rich, your number 3, please.
Right, number 3. So last January, massive window, helped us get over the line with the 4 signings, and exactly the same this season. Obviously, we'll come on to the wilderness, where we were in the wilderness looking for that striker.
We were.
And Big Kiefer's come in. Look, he scored Kiefer Moore, 7 goals, Matt. El Hamadi, 4 goals. Sarmiento, 3 in the league, 1 in the cup. Lewis Travis, at a lesser degree, but he still played his part in certain games. He done well, and he's used that experience. But look, another great window there that has helped us to get over the line. And look, Al Hamadi, will he be here next season? Will he go out on loan? That's one to talk about.
Absolutely,
probably next week. But he's still. I mean, them scenes when he's on the pitch and he's crying. It's just amazing when you think he was playing in League 2 for AFC Wimbledon. But if you look back before that, when he was I think he was at Swansea, didn't play there, Matt. You know, he's sort of Tranmere he started at. Now he's on the cusp of being the first Iraqi to play Premier League football.
I was surprised they didn't mention him in your BBC Merseyside interview. I was waiting for that to be mentioned. Perhaps they didn't know the connection, maybe the Birkenhead connection.
Still available if anyone wants to go and listen back on BBC
And we've got
Sounds.
this man as well on a Sunderland podcast. Go and check it out. I'll drop the link on our Twitter. Which, by the way, I want a Twitter giveaway. Go and check our Twitter page out. Talking Town ITFC. You've got
7 p.m. tonight.
7 p.m. tonight.
Don't forget to pick the winner.
I'm not doing that.
Oh, you're not picking the winner?
No.
Matty's doing it, is he?
Oh, Matty's doing it. I've got one of his prints coming, the promotion one.
Prints, everybody, check it out.
It is a great print. It is a great print. But yeah, so where were we before we were?
January window. Yeah, Al Hamady. Yeah. So look, Kiefer Moore. Look, we missed that striker, didn't we, Matt? Because like I said, when we played Sunderland, we had Caden. I think we played Broadhead.
QPR 0-0. Stoke 0-0.
Broadhead had played up front. I think he played up front in the Maidstone game, didn't he? And I think he went up front in the Stoke game when it was 0-0, and Ladapo came on there in the second half.
Did nothing.
And we were really struggling. And Kiefer Moore, he's a different player than Hurst. I think we've said this, but he still gives you that presence up front. And I mean, he's got 7 goals, Matt.
Brilliant.
Only scored one at home. Key goal at Coventry away. He done his job, didn't he?
He lost his way after the March international break, but he was fantastic. 7 goals from January onwards. Played a huge part. No wonder he's having it large at the Venetian in Vegas. He deserved it.
He fully deserves it. And big window. I agree with that, Richard. I may have had that slightly higher because you had lightning in a bottle at this football club, and it was important.
I've got 2 big ones of that. Do not worry. Matt knows that one of them is coming.
I mean, after seeing the games over New Year, once George
two massive pivotal moments in our season are coming up on mine.
You had to be thinking, if we don't get this right in January, we could be slipping, letting a great opportunity.
But interesting, right? So Kiefer Moore signed right at the end of the window, didn't he, Matt?
Yep.
But Sam Gallagher was the one they really wanted, I think.
Yeah, they were chasing him for ages, weren't they?
So would it have been different if we'd have got him?
Do you go back in for him?
I bet he's watching us back now, thinking he could have been part of this promotion.
I don't know, because he was more your George Hurst type that fitted in this system. Someone who can run the channels, can hold the ball up. Big Kiefer's different, but Big Kiefer, I think, like you said, Matt, probably a better finisher.
Very good finisher. Yeah.
You've only got to look at the goal that he scored. The goal that he scored against Coventry, on that couple of weeks ago. I mean, that seems like ages ago. But he's there. But he's there on that penalty spot, and he's just cool in that minute because he could have hit it over the bar. He could have blazed it over the bar, but he used that experience, got his foot through it, kept it low. There's men on the line, but I think the pace beat him. And look, will we sign him? I don't know. But if he doesn't sign Kiefer Moore, he's put to bed that first spell that he had at the club now. That's gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a reason, why he wanted to come back, because he could have gone. I think there was Cardiff were after him. And he'd obviously been at Cardiff before.
Yeah.
Probably at the back of his mind, though, was there that I've been to Ipswich before, I've got unfinished business at that football club?
Probably people have said to him, got into his ear, Wes Burns being one of them maybe, and said, come and work at McKenna. It's brilliant. That's what I say. Like earlier, Sam Gallagher might be watching us now. Blackburn just narrowly escaped relegation.
I don't really think that was probably down to the football club there, Matt, not wanting to sell him. I think he would have probably had Lewis Travis in his ear.
Yeah, would imagine so.
Yeah.
Point,
Matt, your number 3 moment?
Mine's a striker. It's a striker who missed something. Sinclair Armstrong hits both posts at Loftus Road.
Oh, what a moment.
Again, another sliding doors moment. Now, I work with a QPR fan, and they said to me, in all the years I've been going Loftus Road, never seen that happen, ever. Hit both posts, rolls across, hits one post, it hits the line, hits the other one and bounces out. I just think that, that game is on the back of the Stoke one we mentioned earlier. And in, second half, Chaplin scores, doesn't he? I think chances were few and far between in that game, weren't they?
We were really bad that game.
Didn't play well, did we? Didn't play well.
We weren't good in that game. Haladki gets caught, doesn't he? Chair from the halfway line, and he just gets it over the bar. And but I just feel, again, that felt like another pivotal moment to me where it felt like the stars were aligning for Ipswich a little bit. And we kept seeing this throughout the season. But I remember thinking, when he hits that shot, I think, shit, we're one down. And then it rolls along the line, hits the other post and out. So, again, some things are just meant to be. you call it fate or whatever, kismet or whatever. I mean, look, they go one up. Who knows where our season could have gone after that, but it didn't. And we find ourselves talking Premier League football again.
Big moment. Big moment, predominantly probably for belief. Like, you've got the belief that you're a good team anyway. You've been promoted. You've got the momentum. But then you start coming through games like QPR, where you're not at your best. Sunderland, where you're not at your best. You blow away, in my money, a Stoke side that at the time a lot of people were fancying. You start to grow that belief that not only do you belong at this level, that you can do something equally as special at this level, because you're a good side that come through bad moments. Had they gone against you early doors, obviously you don't know where it would have gone, but big moments, particularly QPR away. I remember watching that game from in this chair, thinking, "We ain't good." So today, we haven't played well today. Like,
we had moments like that, didn't we? Like Harness coming off the bench against Birmingham, for example, in the rain, 2-0 down at St Andrews,
over the shoulder Harness. Love
Do you know what I mean? We had all these little moments. And what do all these little moments add up to? Actually add up to giving the fan base the belief, the hope, the aspiration that we can do something. I mean, look, I still, I've still got question marks over, like Rich says, over everyone saying we would finish top 2 other than wishful thinking. But bloody hell, it's led to top 2. All these little moments, they just add up, don't they?
I'm
oh yeah, this has been exposed, everybody.
Yeah, Gov's been exposed. Very quiet there, hasn't he?
Yeah, right. We all thought he said top 2, but the South Coast Tractor Boys have gone back on some footage and found him saying 6th.
Yeah, cheers, lads. I'll shake you a bit next time I'm down there. Cheers. Right, number 2, Matt. Your second most important moment, pivotal moment, exciting moment, whatever it is of the season.
I'm staying at Loftus Road for this. It's QPR 4, Leeds 0.
Wow.
Hey, doesn't even feature us.
Again, we talk about, how good did our home form have to be in order to pip Leeds? The seesaw of error was very limited, wasn't it? I mean, look, 2 more defeats at home, we would have finished 3rd. As it is, we just get the 1 defeat against Leeds. But then, off the back of that 4-3 they had against Middlesbrough, we were so desperate for Borough to win that. And then we had Leeds fans in our chat, and then, me and Richard done pods with Leeds supporters saying, we're not very good at Loftus Road. They've not won there for since 2005, and they said it's a bit of a bogey ground for us. And in bloody hell, they just throw in like their worst display of the season. QPR 4, Leeds 0. QPR looked nothing like a team that was fighting for relegation. I think it helped that they could still go down. That's why again, another moment. Sky choose that game as a Friday night, so they're playing before everybody else, which gives QPR no other option than to go out and try and win the game.
It's good though, wasn't it? It was obviously because Leeds had played. I think that was on the Monday, and then they played Friday.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, and I
remember driving back, Matt. I was driving back listening to the Sheffield Wednesday Blackburn game, and I was thinking, I want Wednesday to win here because that means QPR is still probably going to need a point because we've all seen teams when they're on the beach. There's not that intensity, but like you said, and then playing on that Friday before, it was literally in their hands. They knew get a result in this game, they're up. And I mean, sometimes we look at them stats, don't we, Gov, when they haven't got a great record. But does it really mean anything when you think this is over time, isn't it? And this is a different Leeds United team. But I was watching that game, guys. I could not believe how bad they were that night.
Really,
they
were
terrible.
I didn't watch it.
And gave us another bite of the cherry, didn't it? Because we'd all been going into the Middlesbrough game, I think it was, where Blackburn had beaten Leeds at Ellen Road 1-0. And then it fell flat for us, didn't it? Because it was a draw. And then suddenly this gave us another bite of the cherry
It took that pressure off, Matt, didn't it? Because if Leeds had won that game, we would have had to win them 3 and 2 away games. The one at Hull and the one at Coventry. We won the one at Coventry, obviously. But if we'd have had to go and win 3...
Felt tough,
the pressure,
didn't it?
And it gave you that little bit of a buffer, didn't it, there?
Yeah.
I know when we come away that night, and I remember speaking to you on the phone after the whole game, and he was losing his shit a bit, wasn't he, Martin, in the WhatsApp group? He was not happy. We'd thrown away a lead. And I did feel a little bit disappointed. But when I woke up on the Sunday morning, I think when we'd done the show on the Sunday, we were a little bit more reflective then.
We were.
Maybe that's a good point. And then Hull go and sack Rossini. We haven't spoken about it. I mean, that is an absolutely mental decision, not based on where they finished in the league, based on, their owner said, on the style of football. What?
Ludicrous.
Not everyone likes winning games.
Owners. My God.
I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw it come through on my WhatsApp. People saying Rossini's been sacked.
If we'd stayed in the Football League and Kieran had gone on to wherever in the Premier League, he would have been top of my list, one of top three in
Well,
the
he
league.
still is. Just because he's been sacked by Hull doesn't mean it for me.
He's still
he'd
good
take
manager.
off
Yeah,
the list.
absolutely. Yeah,
In
totally.
fact, it means compensation's now 0. Happy days.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, he had a private club by the time.
He'll pick up another club quite
That was a
easily.
really good
I'd have
goal.
thought.
Very easily.
That whole performance they put in against us. Well, you were there, Rich. You said the performance was electric, and that was a really good game actually for a neutral to watch. I mean, worldy goals, 3-3, end to end.
Looking back now, that's probably one of the games of the season when obviously I know what one of Matt's final pivotal moments are. But I think Hull, if you're like you said, if you're a neutral fan tuning in that Saturday night watching this game and thinking, this is brilliant. I mean, both teams are going for it. There was no diving. Everyone just gets on with the game and wants to play football. And I thought it was an absolute credit to both sets of fans, both clubs, both managers that day. And Rossini, he's still one of the best young coaches for me. And I just think that's an absolutely outrageous. Nothing surprises us nowadays, does it, with management?
Shouldn't do. But I think if you were going to do a trailer for a DVD of the season, that's the game you'd pick because it had everything Ipswich Town in that game. Not so great defending, great attacking, end to end. No one's shutting up shop. Just sort of summed our season up in 190 minutes.
Yeah.
Now you're promoted. You can really enjoy that game for what it was. But at the time, obviously, you were like, no, not at the time. Not at the time. You were like, 3 goals. We've not got 3 points. What on earth? But there we go. Rich, your second moment, and then we'll have both your top.
Well, I've got 2 here. I've got 2, but I'm going to go for this one because this one sort of ties in with that whole game. The 2-week break that we had.
Oh, yes.
Good one. Nice. Yeah, really good. Yeah.
I think personally, if we didn't have that 2-week break, we might not have made the top 2. Because if you look at you look at the Watford game and you look at the Middlesbrough game, and you look at, I thought we played quite well in them games. But for me, it's normally when we come on strong is in them last 15, 20 minutes, and we make them subs and we scored a lot of late goals, which we spoke about loads of times on here. But in them 2 games, I thought we looked really, really tired, really leggy in them last 15 minutes. And I sat there watching. I don't know what you two thought and everyone in the chat. I didn't think we were going to score. Whereas other games, when it was getting into the last 10, 15 minutes, I always believed that we'd score. Yeah. You know, but them 2 games, we looked leggy. And I think it played into our hands because, Matt, when do you get a 2-week break with 3 massive games to go and also the return of Wes Burns and George Hurst? Because it helped another 2 weeks on the grass for them to. We were all amazed when we see that lineup for Hull that Saturday night, and there was a bit of a whisper in the couple of days before that George Hurst was going to play, and I couldn't believe it. I thought he won't play. Surely he's going to probably be on the bench, but Kieran as well. And we've said it before, Matt, about Kieran. We've said before that he's a bit methodical, and we didn't think he's a gambler. Well, he's probably not. Because he's chucked all his chips in that night, didn't he, guys? He put them both on the pitch. And I think the 2-week break helped us massively. And also Kiefer Moore was looking really tired, like you said before, Matt, a little bit about him. He had that, obviously, the Wales game. He didn't look the same after that. When he played that 120 minutes, he had that knock on his back, I think, against Southampton. So I think this all played into our hands, I think. And I think this was a massive part of. Well, look, Leeds were absolutely shit, and they absolutely shit the bed, didn't they? Them last 8 games. Yeah, after that, we might have gone up anyway, but I still think that this really, really helped us to. And you look at that whole game, the last 20 minutes, we were going for it. Even the Coventry game, guys, that we got pegged back, didn't we? And then obviously scored that goal. And I thought the last 20 minutes there, we looked really, really strong. So I think massive moment in our season was that 2-week break.
Agreed, yeah. Really good one.
Yeah. And you know, the name of the gentleman escapes me, but the head strength and conditioning coach, I think his first name's Ivan. He needs a big shout out because those players have come back. Hurst has had surgery this season, and neither have broken down when they've returned. They've had some cramp, but you'd expect that. They are human beings. But they've come back, and they've not been rushed back, and they've been built up the correct way. That's incredible for him in his role in terms of how those players are obviously prepared and looked after. So much difference to what we're used to.
Remember Scoos under Lambert? Even know if he was in the building or not, did they? I mean, look, it's the evolution of the club, isn't it? And in terms of how what McKenna and his staff have brought to the table in terms of looking after players, nutrition, diet, health, physio, everything. Yeah, we're not used to it at Ipswich, are we? I've not
No.
seen this before. If you was out,
No.
if you got an injury at Boxing Day, hamstring tear, whatever, that was you gone. See you next
3
season.
years. Yeah, no, next
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
3 years time. It was that sort of levels of return, and players will return and obviously break down or not. And such difference. And it's McKenna gets deployed. It's of course he's the manager, but backroom staff like that, they need to get their, as I like to say, flowers, because they're this is important.
Yeah, because I don't look. Kieran's picking the team, but they're the ones giving them that information, aren't they? They're going to be fit. You'll be able to call on them at Hull. Yeah. Even Burns, Matt. We thought he was done for the season.
Absolutely. But I mean, look, you did say I think when you talking to his dad, he said he's a quick healer. Maybe he'll come back. But
he did say that, David. He did say he's a quick healer. But I think even us, we thought hamstring. And that night when he's running down that line at Hull, and then he pulled up, and I'm thinking, oh shit, here we go. God, but it was his calf, and like you say, he had there was a bit of cramp floating around. But that was massive, wasn't it? Them players coming back,
and the Masur as well, because Leif Davis's ankle. I thought, seriously, we're in trouble here, boys. Yeah, we're in trouble. But whatever they've done to his ankle in those 3-day period.
Maybe it's mindset as well. I mean, we're talking about going back on previous squads where people just got injured and disappeared again because they had nothing to play for. Or just,
you'd want to be fit, Matt. You'd want to be fit.
You want to be fit in this team, don't you?
Of course you would. This end of the season, Leif Davis gets injured at Hull. He's going to want to be on that pitch at Coventry, isn't he? Yeah. If he can be there. Was he 100% fit that night? I don't think he was probably 100%.
No, he probably wasn't.
Did he have an injection, Martin? Possibly to get.
No idea. Did they even do that these days in football? I didn't think they went down that path anymore.
Perhaps he went to Felix though and dipped his ankle in the sea like Matt Holland did that time.
Yeah.
Or Freddie at some market osteopaths. The sea don't pay the wages, boys. Some market osteopaths. Freddie 01449613633. Right, our key moment. Here we go. The key moment, best moment, whatever you wanted to label it as, you label it. It's your moment. Richard Moss, you are first on this one.
Right. So go back to January. Ooh. And a particular Sunday in January, I think it might have been about the 28th, when that man up there was saying Town had slipped into the wilderness. Because on the Saturday night, on the Saturday afternoon, we all watched it. And we all had varying degrees of like how we reacted after that game, didn't we? We all know what the game was. It was Maidstone United in the FA Cup at Portman Road. And on any other day, Matt, we would 99 times out of 100 we win that game. I mean, what did we hit the post twice?
It would be 5-0 at half time.
Their goalkeeper had he just had a worldie, didn't he? Literally everything. He's just arms, there was legs. He was just saving it all.
Yeah.
But I think. Look, I know you said this before, Gov. Who is the world's best football pundit?
Harry Ironside.
There you go. So at that particular time, I can tend to agree with Matt a little bit.
It still weren't wilderness, not a
I'll agree a little bit.
We'll have to come back in a minute. Let Rich finish what he's saying.
But I think at that time, did we know where we would finish at the end of the season? No, we didn't. But I think this played a big part. And also, this goes into my 2-week break a little bit. There was a bit of a crossover here because obviously Coventry done well in the FA Cup, right? So Town, if we'd have got through, we would have played Coventry. I think it was the next round, wasn't it? So if Town had beat Coventry, Matt, we could have had extra games. That could have backfired on us. We might have had a day out at Wembley. I don't know if you see yesterday, Crawley Town. Hats off to Crawley Town, who absolutely smashed franchise FC. I mean, MK Dons. And now there is only 4 teams, I think, on that list who haven't played at the new Wembley. Ipswich is still on
there. Who that is. yeah.
Ipswich Town,
next year,
Colchester, Blackburn Rovers, Accrington Stanley.
Where were they?
So Crawley now, that is their first visit to Wembley.
Shout out to them. Yeah.
And just quickly, I'll see Matt from, Jules in the Blood.
When
he was doing his predictions, I mean, we get some horrendous ones wrong. Where did he predict Crawley to finish?
Oh my God,
24th and he's tweeted out today. Look, he's fair play to him. He said, but
I think many did though, Rich. To be fair, I don't think Crawley was seen as a team that were going to be
because they had a bit of a shambles. Was that when Matthew Evington was manager, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
And then he went to Colchester, and then when Colchester wanted to make him temporary manager, he wasn't allowed because did they still have his registration or something?
Something weird happened there, didn't it? Yeah, you're right.
But we got a bit off track here. But I think
Always.
In hindsight, this is where it's really benefited Town that we didn't have another game in the FA Cup. Coventry have got on the FA Cup, Matt, and there's another thing there. If we'd have played Coventry on the original date, I think it was the 20th of April, Cov would probably still have been in the running for the playoffs. But because they'd played that number of games, I think, 5 in 15 days when they come to play us, they'd run out of steam, they were out of the playoffs, and their season had gone, So when you look back, and it'll go down in history, it wasn't a great day for Town. It was a great day for Maidstone, but I think in hindsight, I think that is the number one pivotal moment in Ipswich Town's season.
Okay.
I think actually another pivotal moment is that VAR decision in the FA Cup semi-final, isn't it? Because I think if Coventry had won that game 4-3 against Man United, their tails would have been up, but we eventually had to play them against us. Do you know what I mean? Because they'd have been counting down to a cup final and there'd have been a buzz around the place. So maybe even that was a pivotal moment that we didn't actually feature in, but benefited from. Yeah.
So you went into the wilderness after Maidstone. How did you feel just very quickly after Maidstone, Rich? Were you bothered? Were you upset? Were you angry?
Well, I remember that's just the show on the Sunday. Look, we're all disappointed that we'd lost.
Yeah, always.
But it saddens me a little bit because I love the FA Cup. And we spoke on here about FA Cup replays going. But when you look at it...
The dogs were clearly upset. They're not over it. They were in the wilderness with Matt. Clearly.
They were not happy. But I wasn't... I don't want to say I wasn't bothered because I never like to lose games. And it was an embarrassment. It was up there with probably Lincoln on the telly that night under McCarthy. We're in front of the world, weren't we, Matt? And everyone's having a little chuckle at Ipswich Town.
Oh,
but
no. That Lincoln game was worse. At least this one, you can say, hand on heart, 9 times out of 10 we win the game. Lincoln, we could have played 9 times out of 10 and never got a shot. It was awful.
Yeah.
But it was just football for me. It was just football, this game. And it was one of them games, like you say, where we would have won that game. But looking back on it, I wasn't that bothered on that Sunday. I wasn't as bothered as Matt was.
You'll be looking for a cup run next season with 8 less league games.
We are the Premier side now, boys. Teams are looking to get us.
We'll get
There'll be no eye rolls this time when Town's drawn for you as an opponent. Then we know.
Let me explain this wilderness thing because on that particular day, I never really got to finish it. But there were so many. It was wilderness, as in I've got so many unanswered questions. We've just been humiliated with the worst result in our history at Pullman Road in front of an international audience. How will the team cope? What was that?
We got that. Some background music on for you. A little bit of a sad. Let me be understood, please.
So there was that. There was how would McKenna react because it was a young manager. So, look, he's only 2.5 seasons into his career at this point, or even just 2 seasons into his career. He's only a young guy. Everyone forgets he's under 40. How would he react? We didn't have any strikers going into the league games that was coming up, as it was. I think Al Hamidi and Kofi signed 2-3 days later. So we had no strikers going in. Would we see our Premier League aspirations fall away? They was all the things. That was the wilderness for me. I had so many unanswered questions, and there was not much time to answer them either. Certainly in terms of getting 2 strikers in, because we was on the periphery of the window. And then of course, then you see what happens. We go to Preston, don't we? Bleeding 3 down, aren't we? At half time.
Yeah.
But it all ended out nicely, so fair play.
Okay. We've got Craig says Amari's winning the 4-3 against Rotherham is Craig's moment. We've got Mike D said, I'll go 3-2 late winner for Bristol City. We just missed a penalty, but the boys showed their mettle and gave me the belief it could happen. Let us know what yours is in the chat. Your key moment, your best moment, your pivotal moment.
See, there's top 5 games that I picked, but I just went pivotal moments a little bit different because I think it's easy just to pick. Yeah.
Matthew Phillips.
Oh, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Sarmiento.
Everyone could pick this. Everybody would pick this.
It's a no-brainer, this one, isn't it? I mean, just one of the greatest. It was just one of the great Pullman Road moments. You'll never, ever forget that.
No.
And I do think it damaged us slightly in that the East Anglian derby was, less than a week later. And we put in one of our worst performances of the season. But again...
Under illness, though. Let's be fair.
Yeah. And... at the end of the day, it didn't make any difference anyway. So, I mean, look, just what a game that was. I mean, end to end, fantastic game again, a fantastic game for the neutral. We've had to dig out a result. And then just for Sarmiento, just to toe poke that home right at the very end. But the singing in the stadium, the singing in the concourses down the stairs, outside the ground. I said to you at the time, felt like we'd been promoted already. Do you know what I mean? It was just brilliant, and that's in one of my great. If I had to come up with top 5 Portman Road moments when I was in the stadium, that would certainly be it. One of them, it's certainly in top 5. Brilliant. In all the years I've been going.
Yeah, the roof, if we had one, would be completely blown off, wouldn't it? It was a mad moment. Euphoria as well. Just beating Southampton. Obviously, we were in and amongst us at the time. We all opened the door back to them, but at the time, you think you just extinguished their own top 2 hope. It was a real key. I like that.
I felt like I celebrated that in the stadium more than us actually getting promoted. But I suppose the fact was that in the back of our minds, you're playing Huddersfield, Southampton are beating Leeds. It all just added up, didn't it? But we were still in that kind of, I'm not going to say wilderness. We're in a bit of a no man's land there where it was still in our hands, wasn't it? So I think that just added to the sense of occasion. It was just the icing on the cake of so many brilliant moments, which we've touched upon in this show today, haven't we? Brilliant.
Yeah, it was a really good moment. And Rich, your thoughts on the Sarmiento moment?
Well, if you look at the game overall, I think we'd probably have to be honest that for probably 65 minutes, we were second best, weren't we, in that game? And we could have been out of the game that first half, probably. Yeah. If it had gone in 3-1. It was a similar game to me, a little bit like in that first half, where obviously we got the first goal, didn't we? Davis scored.
Yeah.
And then obviously they scored literally straight from the kickoff, wasn't it? I think Armstrong and then Shea Adams scored. It was one of them, like the Leeds game at home a little bit for me, where they blew us away, didn't they, in that 10-minute period where... And you just had to hang into that game. And then obviously, I think Moore went off, didn't he? 25 minutes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
At the back
Ali came, that's when he got that. Yeah. And then Ali came on and I thought he played a real key. He hit the post, didn't he, in that game up the north stand. But the subs he made, Kieran was there. It was literally, he threw the kitchen sink on, didn't he, that game? Great equaliser from Broadhead. Great little ball by Taylor, Martin.
Yeah.
His equaliser. And then obviously the sending off. I mean, we've been going to games for years down there, innit? And I think when in the early days of the show, we done our top 5 games of town. And I think it's got to be right up there. It has to be right up there. And I know it's one game in isolation, but it was the part of the season where we were as well, Yep. Obviously crucial. I think we went top that night. And then 2 points. I mean, they meant... 10 seconds, wasn't it? I think literally 10 seconds from the end of the game. And I've watched it back so many times. And there's like a little split second of silence in the crowd when he miskicks it. And then he just gets up and he just toe pokes it. And then it's like, oh, my God. I mean, take you back to that moment. I agree with you, Matt, there, because against Huddersfield was a great atmosphere. But we all knew that we were going to beat them. Apart from the guy who was wrapping the bus, because I think you did put that in the WhatsApp. Where Mark Ashton said that, because Mark Ashton, he wasn't going to tempt fate, was he? That
like me, you see, me and Ashton, like that with...
They weren't going to tempt fate, but I think we all knew that you couldn't have picked a better opponent to play on that last day of the season. And it was a great euphoric atmosphere. But the noise in that stadium when that Sarmiento goal went in, and I totally agree with you. I mean, it's just absolutely... And that's them moments why you go to football for, because we've been to so many games when nothing happened, and them last minute winners, them last second winners. It's like the Chaplow goal. The Chaplow goal at Watford, Martin, great moment, and I think we spoke about this before, but it didn't really mean anything at the end of the day. It was a win. Whereas this, we were massively right in that promotion race, and them 2 extra points at that stage.
Yeah,
I mean, it just. Pivotal. It was a pivotal moment, definitely.
Yep. Neil says number 1 was Burns' worldy goal. That's his number 1 highlight. Jim says Ipswich Town, Pride of Anglia, Blue Army. Star Knight says the scenes at the 46th minute finals of the season was his favourite moment. Love these. Get them in. Mike says, for me, the Southampton game turned our season to a real strong belief we could challenge for promotion. I probably would have also said that Sarmiento moment, but I'm going to go for something else because I can't say it. I'm going to go for the week between Cardiff and Sheffield Wednesday. So the back end of the Cardiff game and then Sheffield Wednesday. Because we lose at Cardiff, we capitulate at Cardiff. That's a real hammer blow. Real big kick in the in the guts. You're 2-1, you walk away with nothing, having led 2 stoppage time goals. Now, Wednesday, everyone's going to say to me, Wednesday a garbage, Gov. After our game against Wednesday, they had 8 games. They lost 1 of those 8, drew 3 and won 4, right? Not only did we beat Wednesday, we completely and utterly dismantled Sheffield Wednesday. We didn't come out in a shell. We didn't come out having just gotten a bloody nose at Cardiff. We came out and really stamped our authority back on the promotion race, and we weren't going away. It wasn't going to knock us off our stride. It wasn't how will they react. That is the reaction. And Wednesday, they survived relegation. Fair play to them. And after that, like I say, they lost 1 in 8. They beat West Brom 3-0. This was an aside that everyone would say at the time, it was Forest Green of Championship. Well, it wasn't, because that was a different side. And they showed it after we dismantled them. But for me, those sort of 2, that little week there, real key moment to give yourself the belief to go on. Because we smashed Wednesday.
See, we've always been good, haven't we, after a defeat? And this is the stat, isn't it? It probably will change next season. We lost back-to-back games under McKenna. I mean, another one quickly was the Cardiff game, Martin, as well at home. Because we'd lost to Leeds. We'd lost to Leeds the previous Saturday.
2 down, were we?
2-0 down in that game. Freddie the Dapo. There you go. There's another player that it's just them moments that they've all contributed. Like you said, your Harness at Birmingham. They've all done something that meant something. He came on there. He got 2 goals from probably combined about 3 yards.
Yeah.
Well, Harness.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Gave us 3 points. Yeah,
no, Freddie against Cardiff. He was Johnny on the spot, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
So turned it round.
It was a good moment. And then also Harness at Birmingham, that over the shoulder volley. If Burns, that's one of our better goals of the season. Take Burns' goal away. That might be one of the top.
And the conditions as well. It was proper throwing it down, weren't it, with rain?
I was drenched there that day.
How annoyed are you now? Knowing that not that they went down, but that they were really. It's almost like Darren Moore and the Huddersfield. Like we gave Birmingham and Huddersfield a point each. And the managers that basically lasted 10 minutes after we
could have won the title.
And Rotherham.
And
Rotherham away.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Sometimes we didn't help ourselves. There we go. Great season. A season full of memories. Hopefully you'll get your ones into the chat if you're watching on catch up. If you're watching live, there's still time. But from next week, the real business starts. We're going to be talking about ins, outs, transfer philosophies, who stays, who goes. Which hero are you removing from the fairy tale? That's going to be a hard one.
Gavish sharpening the guillotine.
For some, it'll be a hard one. Not for me. I've been sitting here with my notepad for a week, and I've been, don't need him. Don't know. No, we can do better there. The guillotine's well and truly sharpened, and the fairy tale moves on to a new chapter, which is what it is as football, right? It's a continuously evolving thing. You hope it's evolving. Yeah. We've had, not evolving years in the past. We've had progressions of mighty steps, but we'll see. So, join us next week and beyond. But that was the season that was. If you had to sum it up in one word to close the show, what would it be, Richard Moss?
Unbelievable.
Matthew Phillips.
Could come up with a couple, really. Immense, surprised, shocked, but brilliant.
You can still say Techers. That's Techers.
Techers. Yeah.
Because that's what a Techers season that was.
Right, didn't it? Yeah, Techers. Good Techers.
Soccer I am.
Yeah, absolute just skills, mate. Levels above Leeds. Levels above Norwich.
We will never see a two seasons like this again in our supporting lifetime of Ipswich Town.
We said, we've done none of it. That's the thing. It could be like sitting here next year. Having won the Premier League, I don't know what he's going to do next. Like, just what
Champions League football,
yeah,
European
FA Cup final. Like,
Who knows?
Who knows? We've got to be back in the curve come May, celebrating something. So.
Yeah. I want a bucket on my head again.
Yes, absolutely. Colin says beautiful. Streaky says ridiculous. ITFC Beard says sensational. James says euphoric. And Mike D says dreamland. I look forward to reading all the comments coming in. But thank you for watching this 23-24 season review. I'll leave you with Mr. Phillips' wonderful videography from last weekend. And we'll see you next week. All the best.